Hello everyone, welcome to Magical Me. I'm Jamie Mendez, spiritual intuitive and oracle, and I'm here with my weekly Moonday message. So before I get into anything further, I'm just going to wait and make sure that my microphone is okay. Hey Eleanor, just gonna unplug it real quick. Bridget, Meredith, welcome, lovely ladies. Thank you for being here. How are you all? And how is the sound quality for you? Oh, yes, I know. You're 3 hours behind, so lunch for you. That's interesting that you're able to, or not interesting, but awesome that you're able to participate and tune in during the lunch break. It's like perfect timing, right? Love that. Hey, Jillian. Welcome, beautiful. I'm glad you could make it. Oh, wonderful. Perfect. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and share this really quick just to let people know that I'm live, and then we will get into everything. So just bear with me. But how are you all? How has your weekend been? How are you feeling today? Bridget says she's doing okay, but she has her last infusion on Thursday. Oh, well. Almost there, sweetheart. Almost there. That's wonderful. This is going to be quite an interesting week for lots of forward movement. If you're not already feeling that, we're going to talk all about that. So good, kind of out with the old, get yourself where you need to be, and then being able to start that incredible healing journey forward. So much love to you, surrounding you with love, with light, and with big hugs as you go through that. Okay. Let me just share this really quickly. I'm attempting really quickly, but the internet is not moving as fast as me. Okay. I think I got it. All right, let's see what I missed here. Hi, Laura. Welcome, beautiful. So happy you were able to make it. Carolyn, welcome. Diana, welcome. MJ, welcome, beautiful. Right, just gonna try again. See. Meredith says, I was thinking the same thing, the synchronization. I've missed you and everyone. Oh, well, I'm so happy that you were able to be here. Always in divine alignment there. I'm feeling the equinox. Ooh, it just scrolled on past it. And I was able to use a mudra on Sunday for some nausea and digestion pain. The Pushan Mudra. Ooh. Made me think of Moonday and you and Angie too. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm so happy that you're using them even beyond, here on Moonday and what Angie shares as well. Wonderful. Hey, Donna. Welcome. Okay, so I am going to just do a really quick rundown for those who are new. Hi, Angela and Lynette, Alexandra. Thank you for being here. So for those of you who are new to Moonday, I just want to take a moment to say welcome and thank you for being here. Those of you who are not new and have been here, welcome back. And thank you for always being here with me and for your continued love and support. So anyone who is new, I just want to let you know how this works and what you can expect here this evening or today, depending on where you're at in the world. So this is really a way just for me to be able to go live and share divine insight and guidance for all of us as a collective for the coming week and what we can expect with the theme or the current of energy, if you will. It allows us to have that awareness to fully be able to understand what's going on within or around us, or even energetically or astrologically, and gives us that heads up so that we can move into flow and be more harmonious flow, if you will, versus just being blindly unaware and having to really kind of fight the current, if you will, which can create more discord within yourself and within your life. So just really giving us that heads up. How I do this is that I am an oracle. I'm an intuitive and energy sensitive, and I am able to discern information based on those abilities. So what I like to do is actually set the intention for a divine message to come through for the highest and greatest good only of the collective. Now, this is a generalized overview message for all of us. It is not individual personal readings that I'm doing here today. I do offer personal readings. If you're interested, I do those privately. You can message me and check out the services on my page for more information, and we can set that up. All right. So I'm able to do those readings just the way that I'm doing it here today, because everything is all energetic. So it is something that we do either through a video recorded reading or through like a live private one-on-one video chat. So with that said, I call forward a message of higher guidance. I set the intention that all those that are meant to find themselves here do so. And that when you are watching this, no matter where you're at in the world, no matter where when you find this, if it's on replay months from now, you are here in exact divine alignment with the message that comes forward is what you need to hear at that moment in time. And there will be something of resonance for you, and it will resonate with you uniquely in your life for your own needs. Okay. Hello, Kimberly. Welcome. I'm going to catch up on what I'm missing in a second. So, hello, welcome, lovely. Barbara, welcome. Glad that you are able to make it, everyone. So yeah, so this is again just for everyone. It's positive messages here. There's nothing negative that comes through, just giving us that heads up, that awareness. Now I do this in many ways during this live. So the first thing I like to do is actually talk about any news and announcements that I usually have going on, whether I have events, classes, workshops, offerings here at Magical Me, or with my sister business, Oracles of the Light. After the news and announcements, then I go into the segment of the empathy or energy forecast. And that's just a way that I am able to talk about what it is that I'm feeling intuitively, energetically, and how that might give you a bit of insight into what you might be experiencing. I also like to use that opportunity to talk about anything that's going on as far as like the cosmos go, or any energy gateways that we might be experiencing. So whether there's anything major astrologically that has been put into my awareness for me to talk about. So I use that time to do all of that. After that segment, then I pull the Moonday message from an oracle deck. So I intuitively allow myself to just be drawn to an oracle deck that wants to come forward to work with us all. And again, then I pull the message and use my intuitive abilities to interpret that message. Afterwards, I like to pull a mudra for all of us to be able to better work with the energy that's coming forward. So we'll talk about the mudras in a moment when we get there, okay? Just want to make sure I am not missing anything. Okay, and anything that I do miss, please know that I'm not ignoring you. I do like to go back. I don't always get to see everything during the live with the comments, and I can only see 2 or 3 comments at a time. So afterwards, when I have some free time, I like to sit down after the live is done and go through all the comments just to acknowledge, recognize, and appreciate what you share. So share away. Oh, thank you, MJ. Love you for that. Thank you, Barbara. Love you as well for that. Caitlin, welcome, beautiful. All right, so there are no news and announcements to talk about at this time between myself and Oracles. Hopefully that'll be changing as we get a little closer into April. We'll be talking about more offers at that time. So, oh, Meredith, look at you with your eye. It's like, I spy with my little eye. Yes, I'll hold my whole hand up instead of the finger. Oh, that'd be a beautiful send-off for this Monday, right? Yes, it is. It is Rainbow Moonstone, my soul stone there. Thank you for noticing that. That was good, girl. Oh, excuse me. It's really hot. So yes, no news and announcements to announce at this time. So we're going to move right on into the empathy or energy forecast. So a few things, and I'm going to try to keep a rhythm here versus kind of get all over the place. But if you don't follow something, just feel free to interject, and I'll try to better explain something, because I tend to notice I spiral with these things. So I'll go back into just what I've been feeling. I'll start with today, because today is amazing. I feel amazing. I don't know if that's because the moon is in Cancer, and I am a Cancer moon sign. So it's kind of like moving. I'm not sure of the exact return, but moving into my lunar return here. If it happened already, I'm not even sure. I always forget to check. But so, maybe me coming back into my home comfort zone. But that probably also is a little bit colored with the fact that we have the Aries sun. So there's this energy of balance. So I feel really amazing today. And there's a lot that goes into that, I think, as well. And I'll try to talk about that in turn. But over the weekend, I did not feel so amazing. I did, and then I didn't. I had these moments where I was really feeling on top of the world. And if you remember, let's flash back real quick to last week's Moon Day. And those of you who did not see last week's Moon Day, the replay is still available on my page. But what we talked about with the message that came forward was, coming more into alignment with your truth. And, that was going to align differently for everybody where they are out in their path, but coming more into alignment with your truth, and, kind of the veil of amnesia, if you will, slowly being removed, or for some of us just being completely removed. And so that allows us to come more into our soul's light and to our soul's home, if that makes sense, or even just that more of an alignment between our soul self and our physical self and consciousness. So that in itself would leave you feeling very much alive, feeling wonderful, feeling as though you were, just radiating your energy. And that's where I was for most of the part. And then I had feelings where I suddenly went into shadow. And it's interesting because we did have the equinox on the 20th, and that was Saturday, right? Was it Saturday? Where it was today? Yes, I think it was Saturday, right? I'm like, it already feels like that was a year ago. That's how fast time is moving for me, and maybe for all of you. But that equinox is that balance of night and day, light and dark. So it's interesting that that's exactly where my emotions were falling, where I was really feeling wonderful. And then I had those moments of shadow. And the specific shadow that was coming up for me, I oftentimes I'm very much in alignment with collective energy, just because of the sort of work that I do with my specific role, helping to transmute collective energy, helping to work with the collective. I felt abandonment wounds coming up to the surface, and that definitely was some of my own as well. That's kind of been something that's been a theme throughout my life, but it wasn't solely abandonment issues, or wounds, I should say. It was also self-worth wounds coming up to the surface again, which is interesting because it's like night and day, right? You've got that, I don't feel good enough, I'm not qualified, or who's going to listen to me, who's going to love me. And then all of a sudden you have, I feel amazing, I'm the light of the world, I am in my light. So it literally was like opposite ends of the spectrum, which was really on point with equinox. Now the equinox was also a portal gateway. It was a birthing gateway is what I like to say, because that's how I see it, where it was literally pushing us out of the void, out of the womb space, and into the light of the new world. So with that happening, it was really going to be kicking up those shadows that are still hanging about for the process of integration. And we talked about this last week with Moonday. And I will say that when I was feeling those lesser than lovely feelings and emotions, I sat with them, and I did not, and I think I did talk about this on Moonday last week, I did not release them. I did not naysay them. I did not get frustrated with the process. I instead just immediately knew I needed to allow them. I really needed to own them. and just accept that this is where I'm at right now, and this is what I feel, and so I'm going to allow. So I was letting them in versus letting them go. And that's different, because a lot of times with shadow work, we talk about understanding them, accepting them, and then releasing them, right? Well, we don't want to release them so much as we want them to be integrated, or I almost want to use the word disintegrated into our light self. So it's more of a coming into, a more of an acceptance, all right? So it's more, it could be a little bit of a flip on wordplay, but it's also a flip on perspective. So recognizing that as we may continue to go up and down this week with those shadow feelings, it's important to understand them and own them. And it's important to understand that even if you don't know where they're coming from, they're there. And just allow. You know, that doesn't mean indulge and go off the deep end. I'm not giving you permission to do that. You know, do what you will. But I'm just saying that's not what I'm doing here. I'm asking you to really fully love them. Accept them. Understand them as best you can. And then they stop being so angry. They stop being so wounded, because they have come into, they've been heard. Okay? So this is how we integrate. This is how we are able to move forward. Okay? So that was some of that I was feeling. Now, part of what I've been feeling is this really fast forward movement. You know, it's like I said, the equinox was only on Saturday, but already that feels like it was 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. And I'm feeling like we have really, and that's because a lot of the shifting work is allowing us to quantum leap into higher timelines. And so I talked about that on last week's Moonday as well. So I don't want to go too much backwards and into all of that again. But for those of you who did not get to tune into that and aren't familiar with what that means, you know, we have many different timelines that are possible, or that we are simultaneously existing on. And so it's about letting go, I should say, making the leap in consciousness and the quantum jump into a higher vibrational timeline, free from those looping trauma cycles or patterns or karmic wounds, limitations, old programs, distorted matrices, whatever you want to call them and refer to them as, even ancestral stuff, because of the healing and the integration that was occurring. So that allows us then to ascend or transcend, and that allows us to make this quantum leap into a higher timeline. So things are moving differently. Things are moving faster now. And now there's this ignition that's happening. And I heard it is like the soul spark of ignition, if you will. So now that Aries sun alignment that happened at the same time as the equinox, okay, so now you've ignited the fire sign there, as Aries is one of the fire signs, but it's also an important one because it is the beginning of the zodiac wheel. So it is the beginning of our time. So this is the rebirthing and starting all over again. And so now you have the fire that's really kicking up to give that momentum forward for all of us to start to excel, or I want to say accelerate even, into our life purpose, our truth of being. Or even moving more into divine will and aligning your will, your free will, with divine will, which has to do also with your life purpose. So that soul's radiance that's coming forward here, feeling, coming back into your light more into alignment with your authentic truth, is coming more into alignment with your divine work. So suddenly you might be feeling as though doors that were closed are now beginning to open for you. Things are moving at a really fast pace. You might have lots of ideas coming in, inspirations, people presenting themselves to, possibly collaborate with you. That was something that came forward last week as well. Really opening up the door for these dreams to become reality. And so Aries energy is fueling that for you. Aries energy is like the Fool card in the tarot deck, which is, when you say fool, it sounds like that's an insult, but it's not. The Fool is, I want to say, like foolhardily, like the completely beginning, the reset, where it's like, think of yourself as the young adult, you just are ready to embark upon life as an adventure, having no trauma to carry with you, no wounding that's putting you in this place of like defensiveness and sheltered and shielded. So you go into it with the fears, it's not like that now. It's like completely opening up our hearts to be open to experiences, no matter what they may be, being open to the adventure, having the eyes of that youthful purity of heart and soul to look upon the world and opportunity with hope and the potential for newness and new beginnings to come in. So really having that, and if you understand tarot at all, and for some of you who don't, it's okay. It's the major arcana is like life's journey. And the Fool card is the number 0, and it really represents the beginning of the journey. And so we do this beginning of the journey many times in our lives, as our life is a spiral cycle. So we do this many times, and so it's about building up to the point of you go on the journey, you learn lessons, and all over and over and over again. So we have this opportunity to start all over. But doing so, kind of throwing caution to the wind and just foolishly or foolhardily just jumping into the unknown, because that's where the magic is, and just not allowing fear to be our dictating voice or factor, if that makes sense. Okay. So I keep looking at my notes because I knew there was going to be a lot I wanted to talk about today. So I did write down a little bit of my notes so that I could remember some points. Let's see. I talked about the removal of the amnesia veil. That's happening for some. It's like you've been working towards this for a while. So it's like the full veil it's like ripping the Band-Aid completely off and fully being in the now, fully being in the know, I should even say. But for some, it's like little by little, more and more information is coming in to help you to see things that you did not see before, to be more aware of the higher consciousness and current at play, if you will, to be able to see things from a more evolved perspective, but also from a, like that bird's eye view. So not fully engaging in the old matrix, the old programming, if that makes any sense at all. One thing that I kept hearing about as well, I heard this multiple times, was the word patience. I even actually woke up a few days ago singing the song Patience by Guns N' Roses. And so it's like just letting us know that while that momentum, that Aries energy in the solar, in our sun's in the sun, and it doesn't matter if you have Aries in your chart, doesn't matter if you are in Aries, it's going to impact all of us because we all have all of the zodiacs within our charts somewhere, right? So on a collective level, we want to move forward really fast. But you can see that we're still having a little bit of like, I'm up, and then, okay, now something else is coming in to work through. We're working through them very fast, okay? It's like rapid ascension happening. So be proud of yourself and be kind and patient with yourself. So that's what Spirit wants us to know, is to be patient with yourself, be patient with the process as you are making great leaps, even if you are not aware of it. So we have those moments. But another thing about practicing patience is practicing presence. And that's one thing that I heard about that. Hey, Karen. Welcome, beautiful. Thanks for being here. So practicing presence. And that means being in the now moment. A lot of the triggers or shadows and blocks, I should say is a better word, that we experience have to do with us really having our mindset and our focus on the next the next big moment, projecting out into the future, and waiting for that moment when we can be happy, and that this situation, having something to hold on to make you happy, to hope for, instead of being, that takes you away from where you're currently at. It's almost like an escape tactic. And there's no judgment. I'm not saying judgment if you felt that, because I also experienced that a lot. So, it's about bringing yourself back into the present moment. It's kind of like dealing with the shadow when it comes up, being in that moment, and just allowing yourself to be content with where you are. And that's another thing I started noticing happening with me over the last week, was I really felt like, it is what it is. Maybe I'm not where I thought I might be at this point in time in my life, or, maybe things aren't happening in a way that makes me comfortable, or I would be more comfortable with them happening. Maybe even about like agreements with people, agreements that you might even be having, or disagreements even. It doesn't mean that where you're at and when you're there in that present moment, it doesn't mean that you also can't be happy with it. It doesn't mean that you can't live. You don't have to wait for when it's better. It can be better now. It is better now. See? So it's that perspective switch that we just talked about again. So being in the present moment, patience and presence are one and the same. So being in that present, and really when you're in that present moment, it allows you to see life in a different way, that you can fully see the gift that your present moment is, right? Everything in the future is a present moment. It just hasn't happened yet, you see. And then everything in the past, which a lot of us, we do get stuck in the past, myself included, I'm just right up there with everybody, to the point that I even had something going on with my left leg, and I talked about that a few weeks ago. Something going on with my left leg, my left hip, was about having your left side there and being stuck in the past. And it kept coming up in repetitious ways, and through even other people that were, talking to me or had dreams that I was involved in. So it's about something in the past still anchoring you there. And so when we do that, even if you're unknowingly doing it, again, being in the past just keeps us on that looping trauma cycle and that looping timeline. And it doesn't allow us to be in the happy of the now, right? And it's not even about just being happy all the time, because anybody who knows me closely, they know I'm pretty real. I honor my feelings, and I have quite an array of feelings throughout the day. So it's not about being a happy, fluffy bunny, guys. That's sorry if there's any children listening, but that's bullshit. So it's okay to be all of you, all of those feelings, because what you're doing when you're having all of those feelings is you're allowing them to be integrated, and it's not an overnight process coming into, that higher, I don't like that word, higher, ascended aspect of yourself. It's not an overnight process. It's a constant process and constant maintaining it. All right. So practicing the presence and the patience with self and with others and with the journey and where you are at in this timeline. Okay. Another thing that's going on at this time, which is interesting to talk about, I mentioned it a little bit, is the moon in Cancer right now, right? And the moon in Cancer the moon is ruled by water. Cancer ruled by water. So very much about the fluidity, the intuitive, that deeply feminine energy, right? It is also the extra sensitive energy. And Cancer is at home in the moon. So this is its ruling planet, okay? So then you have Aries in the sun, which is the masculine, the fire energy, which is the passion, okay? So you've got your masculine and your feminine, both in that space right now. And so it again is bringing our awareness to balance. So it's important for us to be balancing ourselves. And I do think that this is going to be a cycle throughout the rest of the week. I do really feel like that equinox cycle of, that's why we'll feel wonderful, and then you might have those moments. So it's teaching you to be in the moment, balancing and integrating everything as it comes up as it deals. But also, we want to hit the ground running with all these dreams and aspirations that we now have coming forward, and the energy's there for them. The energy is there to make our dreams a reality. So taking your small steps, but still honoring the patience, okay? So find that balance in between the two, if that makes sense. Last but not least, Venus. I was not going to talk about this, but it happened. So when it happens on a day of I'm going to go live, I have to talk about it because that's just my sign that it's impacting us, and I'm here to talk about it. Oh, forgive me. So Venus moved into Aries today. Now, not only did Venus move into Aries, but Venus is also in alignment with the sun now then. So we have Venus, which is the planet or ruler of love, not solely romantic love, but absolutely romantic love and relations with others, relationships with yourself and with others. But it is also higher love as well, right? So it's about coming into that higher love and that higher bliss too. It also is the ruler of finances and money. So that could be kind of coming up at this time. So now you've got that in the conjunction with Aries, so the sun. So you can see how these things are going to want to start there's some fire being fueled. So it could be good, it could be bad. And essentially it's all good, but you could be seeing that the fire is being ignited in a unruly fire sort of way in the relationships. But it could also be what is it doing that for? To bring some things up to the surface that need to be honored, that need to be recognized. So how you could do things moving forward. Going forward, you can do things differently in regards to that relationship, or because it might be, I just heard, burning embers, things that you need to clear out regarding relationships so that you can move into alignment with higher love, and that higher love within self as well. So self-love, so important. Some relationships that we stay in are actually, that are not going well, or, are being triggered in a negative way. It's something to reflect upon and look at. Is this something that continues to go forward with me? Because are you sacrificing self-love? So something to think about. But also, it is igniting sparks of love for everything. So love and relationship, love and, I don't know if I would say love and money, but loving your, kind of like, I don't even know how to word this, moving more into alignment with your love, with your passion, which enables you to earn money in a way that you love. So you don't have the negative energy attached to money, if that makes sense to everybody. So lots of beautiful alignments happening right now. And Meredith says, the lovely energy for working on honoring self-love. Thank you for that, sweetheart. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that that's more, because the way that I see it is, the more that you work on the relationship with the self, or even the evolving stuff like soul evolution, evolving yourself or working on your things that you love to create and do, not just solely about self-work, but like what you love to do. The more you work on building you and enhancing or growing yourself, the more you actually open to and attract naturally the higher love and the loving energies and connections and collaborations and partnerships and work. Everything then begins to fall into place, you see. So you are the key in all of that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to everybody. I know it was a long one. I knew it was going to be, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. And I think it's beautiful. It feels really good. I also received some messages, and I think I touched it a little bit last week too, about things shifting collectively, where I feel like we can hope and we can expect miracles regarding liberations, and things beginning to come into a more aligned, balanced, healthy flow in the planet and within ourselves. Okay, so just something to be mindful of as we go forward. March is that power. It is that creator energy there for us all, with the energy of the number 3. But also, we call it March for a reason, right? So it's like, I heard somebody else quote this as March to Freedom. And I thought that was really wonderful because I'd been hearing like this is like we're beginning to experience liberation and awakening in many different ways, uniquely to every single person who's experiencing it. Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and check those comments. Hey, Deb. Welcome, gorgeous. Ooh, there was a lot. I am so sorry. Hey, Carmela. Oh, let me see. Did I? Okay, sorry. I just want to make sure. Hey, Annie. Welcome. Yep, it's still going up. Wow, there was lots of comments. You guys are awesome. Monielle, welcome, beautiful. Oh, there we go with the moonstone. Okay. Meredith says, I feel a little alien today and in my vibe. I also wasn't feeling well over the weekend, very tired and forced to rest. Yeah, you know, I had a lot of stuff going on too over the weekend and it would come and go. And there was the, you know, some of the exhaustion coming in, but also lots of sacral chakra, lower back, you know, aching. And I know that there were some really, I follow that, it's a Cosmic Gateway is the name of the page. They discuss the Schumann resonance and the frequency jumps and spikes, and they are the ones that also talk about the storms, solar storms and whatnot. And I know that there was a massive G1 storm that was creating a lot of that within us, but also, you know, so we call them ascension symptoms. Again, obviously, disclaimer, get something checked. Don't just chalk it up to, you know, what I like to say is spirited away. You know, listen to your instincts. If you should get something looked at, then you should. But yeah, I was definitely feeling that. But I was also receiving intuitively what it was, how I was feeling it. Okay. Kimberly also says exhausted, long work hours, and a little rest time over the weekend. Oh, well, remember, find your balance, ladies, okay? Find the balance in the best way you can. And even if you have to demand it. Okay, it's important. Lynette says, on point today. Awesome. Hey, Beth. Welcome, beautiful. Barbara says, yesterday was a rough day physically and emotionally. Today, much better. Shadow work at play. Love and light to all. Love to you, sweetheart, too. I'm glad you're feeling better today. Yesterday wasn't as shadowy for me as it was a whirlwind. It's kind of how I felt like. But I also have been doing some really deep soul work stuff that has come up over the last week as well. But it felt like I was like meant to be taken away from technology. Like everything that I had to do that involved like checking Facebook or answering messages or, you know, even just tuning into certain things. Like I couldn't do it. It really felt like I was deliberately being taken away from technology. So I had to go through all this, you know, my day was just filled yesterday. Meredith deeply resonates with the forecast. Awesome. Infinity spark. Definitely a current theme. Beth says she's got Aries rising. Awesome, love. Let's see. How am I so on point with every Moonday message? Awesome. Thank you for that. I'm so happy that it resonates. The presence, patience. Yes, yes. You're welcome, my dear. We all need it, myself included. Spirit reminding me as well, clearly hearing the song from Guns N' Roses in my head, waking up to it in the morning. Left hip issues too. Ooh, yeah, so check on those past life. Also survival. You know, we store our emotions in hips. But check into like adopted survival mechanisms that are learned, not true primal, if that makes sense. And I'm having flashes. So sometimes like regarding work, you know, we have this whole like, we've learned that a survival instinct is that we have to stay in something that's unhealthy in order to, let's say, earn a living. that would be maybe one of those unhealthy adopted survival instincts that are actually causing us harm. Thank you, Meredith. Jillian, march forward. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, Barbara. Welcome. Oh, you're so welcome. Been working on with some restorative yoga. Yes. So it's funny. Not mine. I'm not going to own them. The hip pain that I had been experiencing actually happened the week of way back, a couple of weeks back, when I think Beth Swan, you might remember specifically because we talked, one of the mudras that came forward was the pigeon pose. That pigeon pose is specific for those deep survival fears and emotions stored, and trauma wounds stored within our hip area. That pigeon pose is specifically for the releasing of them. So maybe look into that. But yeah, yoga, fantastic for that. All right, we're going to get into the Moonday message. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the interaction, feedback, everybody. So, it is beautiful here in New Jersey. It has been beautiful it's been a couple of days now, and hopefully I think we're supposed to have it that way for the rest of the week. So I really wanted to be doing this outside today, but I tried to sit outside for a little bit earlier, and there's a little bit of a breeze, a heavy breeze in the air, and it just kept making my eyes water. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to be a hot mess trying to do Moonday outside. So maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, next week I can be outside. But since I'm feeling the energy of spring and life being restored to the planet and the nature and elemental brethren really wanting to connect with us, I decided to work with the Fairy Forest Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. Okay. So before I go ahead and pull the message, I'm going to ask you all just to come into sacred space with me. As we are all energetically connecting at this point in time, we want to eliminate as much distraction around us as we can, the heaviness, the tension, and just really bring ourselves down into that, holding space for one another, if you will. So I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes. I'm going to bring in the chimes as well, bring in some sound. And just take a nice renewing breath in through your nose, allowing that sound to just move through your auric field as you blow the breath out of your mouth. Feeling yourself start to relax, letting go of tension in your nose, in your mouth. Is what I wanted to say, not in your nose, in your jaw, in your shoulders, in your neck, in your back. Taking another deep breath in through your nose. And release. Again, feeling that sound break up all chaotic, stagnant energy around your body. And last time, deep breath in. And allow your mind to just drop down into your heart space. Feeling fully present, fully in this now moment. All right. And let's see what guidance comes forward for the world as a collective for the week of March 22nd, 2021. Right, that one just flew right on out of the deck. Ooh, interesting. One moment, let me just connect into this energy. All right, so the number of the card is a 20, so it's a 2, which again, balance, and we're talking all about that, and balance within all areas, and the number of things kind of trying to come together, right? So it's like the conflicting aspects of self, conflicting energies. We talked about that with the shadow, and then feeling that light, really bringing it into alignment, integrating it into self, integrating it into your light, through acceptance, through compassion, through being able to compromise as well. So 2 is also the number of relationships. So again, we got that Venus and Aries energy. And I'm not quite sure how long Venus is in Aries. I forgot to check that. So I don't know if Meredith, you know that off the top of your hand. But yeah, so the energy of this week with that, finding balance in relationships and relationship even with the self. And earlier somebody had mentioned, 2 of you actually, Meredith and Kimberly, had mentioned feeling very exhausted and feeling like overworked. And so again, the key here is finding that balance. How can you restore balance to self? How can you, or where are you in need of more balance in your life? So really important things to sit with and ask yourself. And then again, taking time for self, then the time for external, and really finding again the way that you can integrate that. Relationships with others, the same approach, and patience with ourselves, compassion, and with others. Okay, so interesting though is the card that came up is the Unseelie Queen. Unseelie, meaning, for those of you who are not familiar with the word, is, to me, is like not authentic, is how I hear that word, Unseelie. It has to do with the Fae energy. Now, there's believed to be 2 different sorts of Fae. The Fae, the Seelie Fae in the Seelie court, which are more of like the shining ones, the more of the, pure of heart, honorable. And then you have the Unseelie, which are the ones that are a little bit more in the shadow. So you're seeing a theme here, right? Ones that are in the shadow, the ones that do the tricksters type of behaviors and energy and things, maybe have even been seen as dark and a little bit more negative. So maybe where some of the negative information about the Fae comes from. So to me, it's like our shadow self and our light self having to come into a harmonious relationship. Now, this could be reflected externally, as I said, because anything that comes up within others or circumstances around you is a projection of your internal. So just giving you a heads up as to what you might need to look at within regarding shadow, okay? So the Unseelie Queen. Now, queen is somebody who does not go around announcing it. They just are. It's a sovereign being. But then you have the Unseelie Queen energy, that is the one that is, I'm the queen, and off with their head. You've got the ego coming in. And the card literally says glamour, opulence, and hubris. Okay? So look at her. For the beautiful thing that she is, very much what catches your eye is the glamour, right? Is her beautiful gown, her beautiful jewels. But in the end, are any of these important? Is she not worthy if she didn't have those jewels and those beautiful fabrics and her hair being so vibrant and, poised in the way that it is? Would she not be as beautiful? That would be a programmed limiting belief, right? That would be something that is told to us, or we tell ourselves, right? So maybe you're not worthy because you don't, I'm going to take this right to an example. Perfect example is about being spiritual, right? That's a very broad word. Okay. There isn't a wrong or a right with that. But a lot of people feel like to be spiritual, you've got to practice yoga. To be spiritual, you have to drink green juice, and you have to be a vegan. Now, no disrespect to anybody that is and does these things, okay? But no disrespect to anybody who doesn't do these things, okay? Spiritual is a divine communion with your soul, with your source, with your God goddess. That is being spiritual. It is love, okay? Unconditional. So you don't have to walk around wearing crystals. You don't have to say namaste. You know, these are all external things that come with the territory if you so choose them. But, you know, it's kind of like your church, you know. Church doesn't, you cannot say that you can't pray to your God, goddess, if you don't have a church, right? Because church isn't here. So it's about shifting your perspective. And now the shadow, the unseelie aspect of us, the unseelie king or queen, doesn't matter who it is. We all have those shadows where we say we're not good enough, we aren't pretty enough, we aren't skinny enough, or we aren't thick enough, or, you know, we aren't this, or that. And again, that does reflect into what I did pick up with some of those shadows, with the abandonment. We aren't worthy of being loved. We aren't likable enough. Also, again, with the whole worthiness shadow coming up. So it is about reflecting on your shadows that might be coming up into the surface and taking away their power by acknowledging that a lot of this is programmed beliefs by society that says we have to be this, we have to be that, you've got to be qualified, you got to be this, you got to be, you know, it all is in here. And there's a beautiful person, a woman that I follow, Ishtar Rose, was actually, I heard her talking about how to, you know, the knowledge that, you know, we go out and a lot of people will read countless books, take countless courses, get countless certifications, and that's well and great for those of you who feel the call to do so. So it's not a slight against anyone who does that, but it's just also important to understand that true knowledge, true wisdom, comes from within, and it's already within you. And this is how you allow the purity of your light and your soul to shine. This is how you truly remove the veil of amnesia and see yourself in your full light and who you really are. So this week, we may be having situations occur that have us question or doubt our self-worth and capabilities or what we've received. You know, this is a very open time for divine communication. So a lot of divine wisdom coming through in dreams and meditations and synchronicity through other people, maybe just through yourself, you know, meditation, really coming into help us on our own individual journeys to ascend more into love. But a lot of people will naysay themselves, myself included, and say, well, you know, who are you to talk about that? You know, who's gonna listen to you? Or maybe you don't know as much as that next person or next spiritual teacher knows, and they have this really fancy terminology that I've never heard of before, and so that makes me less than. You know, says who? Right? You are your own sovereign. Right? So it's important that as anything comes up this week, we begin to strip away the limiting beliefs and allow, but okay, you don't have to let them go. You don't have to get frustrated or feel ashamed or embarrassed that you may feel them, that might come up to the surface. Excuse me, even if it's someone else coming externally. Send them love and move on your way. Don't get caught up in that, because self-projecting what they might be feeling internally, okay? So anything going on, you know, it's important for you to feel it. Allow it. Just be. You might be having one of those days, and just let yourself have that day. You don't always have to feel on top of the world. We go up and we go down. We go in and we go out. It is the ebb and the flow. That's the balance, all right? And the point of that is for the integration. It's through the acceptance. I can't say that enough, all right? So the unseelie queen, however that takes shape for you this week, be mindful of it. Have the awareness of it now. And now that you have the awareness of it, you can integrate it. You can recognize the light of your soul and your truth is no less worthy than the next person. And this certification thing too, I want to talk about that a little bit, because I know it's a very specific thing. It's wonderful to build and grow your soul. But I know that a lot of people get hung up on certifications, and there's a lot of people that are in ego that will be like, you're not valid or worthy if you don't have a certification, if you never did this. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things that I feel, because I've gone through this myself, that you would benefit from taking a course with someone who is more aware or an authority on something, just because it does give you maybe an activation, an upgrade, an attunement, or something that you need. But that doesn't mean that you're less worthy than them without it. Do you see what I'm saying? You're less credible. As we move more and more into New Earth and the fifth dimension, I do feel like a lot of the whole, certification stuff and titles are just going to go out the window, because some of it is kind of ego-based. So, listen to yourself. If you feel called to take a course and, it has a certification, take the course, get your certification. But don't be so hung up on the fact that you can't do something. Like, I know, for example, like meditation, there's a lot of people will be like, well, you have to be a certified meditation coach in order to guide meditation journeys. No, you don't. You don't. Listen, what works for you might work for someone else, so why not share it if you can? Listen to your heart and soul, guys. You are the light. You are perfect as you are. Okay, so I hope that works for you all this week, or resonates, or helps you keep that in the back of your mind as we go through whatever it is that might be going through. Remember, this is a week of balance, so integrating. All right? Okay. Let me see what I missed. Annie says, oops, just what I needed to hear. You are so special. Oh, thank you for that, sweetheart. As are you. As are you. And you are here because you just needed the reminder of how special you are. Hi, Jessica. Welcome, welcome. Anybody who just popped in, if you may have missed the beginning of the Moonday message or the energy forecast, it will all be available on replay. Lynette, redheads are special. She's an extra special fae. Yes, well, everyone is special, but yes, gingers, you have a very unique quality about you. There we go. Perfect message. Excellent card. Jillian, freaking goblins. Good word for them. Good word for them. And that is what it is. Our shadows, there are goblins, and even goblins need love. So give it to them. Okay. Meredith, thank you for that, sweetheart. She says Venus is in Aries until April 14th. Okay, so we've got a bit of this. So this is really helping us to really align more and bring more balance into those aspects of ourselves, highlighting. Remember, you've got that fiery forward movement of the wild, rebellious Aries teenagers, what it almost feels like energy, kind of putting energy into Venus. So, and then the sun, which is the solar masculine energy, that forward movement, taking action. So it's going to want you to take action in some way with relationships, or you could find yourself coming more into alignment with authentic relationships. Okay. Meredith says, pigeon is one of them. My friend Jessica Ray Alray is guiding me with some poses that she may have a few more to add. Oh, wonderful. That is perfect. Awesome. All right. Let me go on down the list back down here. Oh, thanks, Carmela. Thank you, Eleanor. Embrace your gingers. It's interesting, too, because the Tuatha, the Danann, which are said to be the original races of Ireland, where the red hair actually comes from, it says. These are a fae-like type of energy, although they are not fairy as we understand them. It's coming very, very forward at this time, so that's interesting as well. All right, so let's move into the mudra. So for those of you who are new to mudras, I work with these because it gives us another way of embracing the energy of the message that comes forward. So it's a way to not just hear the message, but then it is a way for us to facilitate the growth and implement, I should say, the energy that we need to move forward, right? So mudras are very powerful healing tools. The word mudra is Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is a very ancient language, believed to be one of the first languages on the planet, also believed to be a form of light language, so incredibly powerful. So the word mudra itself is, it translates into the word seal. So like an energetic seal, or, kind of like a wax seal, but that's how I see it. But to me, it looks like an activator or a button that aligns with one or more of your chakras. So these energy seals can be formed with your hands, because we have palm chakras within your hands, and then you have triggers connected to the elements in your fingertips. So when you form these mudras or seals with your hands, you can combine in that breath work as well as your intention. It allows you to channel energy directly into your energy centers, basically your life force energy or pranic energy, in which our energy centers need to basically breathe, if that makes sense. So sending that life force energy into them with one or more, with one mudra can work with one or more energy centers or chakras. Each chakra connects into your four main bodies: your physical body, your spiritual body, your emotional body, and your mental body. So when you work with a mudra, it can connect with more than one of those chakras, which is going to work on many different layers to facilitate growth by channeling energy through to remove blockage, and then can facilitate expansion in your consciousness as well as attaining enlightenment. So very, very powerful tools that have been used in Hinduism, in India, by the Buddhist monks in Tibet for thousands of years. So simple, effective, but potent. So potent that sometimes they do come with caution, that if you already suffer from a physical ailment in a certain area, if we pull a mudra that connects into that physical area, you might want to err on the side of caution with using it, because it can bring too much energy into that center, which can overstimulate and cause some irritation in that particular area. So it is important to be mindful and kind of use it at your own discretion. If there is a caution, I will let you know. Okay. Hey, Derek. Welcome. Thanks for being here. We are on the mudra part of the Moonday message, but you can definitely get anything back on replay. Okay. All right. So how it works is I'm going to pull the mudra, as I'm actually using a card deck for this, which is Mudras for Awakening the 5 Elements by Alison D. Nicola. And I ask for a mudra to come forward that is in connection with our message for what we most need this week. And then I will show you the mudra. We'll work with it together if you so choose. And then after the live is done, I'm going to post it on my page, and I'm going to encourage you to go save it to your phone or whatever device you watch on, so that you can work with it on your own once a day, all week long. Because the more that you do, the more you facilitate that healing and growth that is needed. Okay. All right. So what mudra comes forward for the collective good for the week of March 22nd, 2021? Ooh. We've got the Vitam Mudra, and it is vitality. Look at that. So this one assists with inner cycles, fluidity, and vital energy. It supports our reproductive and urinary health, directs breath to the sacrum, lower back. You heard some of us mentioning, and you heard me mention before, that I had over the weekend and a little bit yesterday, sacral chakra aching and like discomfort, kind of really out of the blue. And it was also moving into my lower back, your sacrum area, even to the point where it was making like feeling really hard to move. You know how when you get older, and a lot of people will complain about their bones, and just feeling like your bones are achy. That's what I've been feeling kind of on and off in the lower back area. So really interesting, helping move that energy for us all. So directs breath to the sacrum, lower back, and pelvis. It relaxes the lower back and activates the flow of subtle energy. It is connected to the element of water, so all about that flow and harmony and fluidity, which is exactly what we're meant to be, kind of just allowing ourselves to flow versus kind of resisting and struggling against it. So we'll do this together. Very simple one as opposed to, was it last week's? That was quite funny. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold your hands in front of your belly, palms facing each other. Okay. Allow the hands to expand apart in your natural inhale. So when we breathe in, so you're going to obviously be doing this. It's a little hard to show you this high. So hands, fingers facing downwards. So kind of like you're cupping something, but allow your hands to kind of be slightly apart, just in front of your belly. All right. And then when we breathe in, allow your hands to expand outward, like the energy is pushing them out. And when you exhale, you're going to allow your hands to move back in. Okay. So it's kind of like, it's interesting. It's that balance of contraction and expansion, right? So yes, so on the inhale, they're going to actually allow the hands to expand apart in the natural inhale and then come a bit closer. Yes, exactly what I said, to each other in the natural exhale. So out and in on the exhale. So you're going to relax your shoulders, lengthen your spine. Close your eyes if you choose. And take a nice deep breath in and expand. And you're not going to expand very far, guys. Don't go beyond your the width, I would say, of your body. And as you release, come back together. So we're going to do this a full 6 times, all right? So again, deep breath in. And release. Again, breathe in, expand, and contract. Again, breathe in, and release. Again, deep breath in, expanding, and release, contracting. Last time, deep breath in, and release. And you can state, I open to the vital and subtle energy that is within. I open to the vital and subtle energy that is within. I open to the vital and subtle energy that is within. And so it is. And you can open your eyes. All right, that felt really nice. I don't know about all of you, but that felt like, I literally felt like I was kind of being taken out of my body, coming back into my body. So definitely having that expansion and contraction. So very interesting. A lot of what we talked about today was all about the point of the integration is coming more into your inner radiance, allowing your soul's light to shine through the purity of your heart. So working through and with all of those lessons and teachers that are the shadows, and accepting them into your light. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you all so very much for being here with me this moon day. I hope that you have a fabulous week, and I look forward to seeing you back here next week. Okay. Take care.